Hi everyone, my name is Maxime Vizina and I am the founder and creative director at Bold Spirit Game Studio. Welcome to our first Dev Diary and behind the scenes episode. For those who don't know me, I am a game developer and I was a level designer, more specifically a quest designer, at Ubisoft Montreal for 4 years, where I worked on AAA games like Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Before that, I released my own game on Steam called Red Trigger, a free-to-play first-person shooter puzzle game which has been compared to Portal, Antichambers and other games in the same genre. It was a good success, receiving 89% positive reviews and being downloaded around 300,000 times. In this game, you play as a computer virus trying to corrupt a system, and the main mechanic is that you can shoot red blocks to expand or retract them, but can only expand 3 at a time, so you have to manage your energy distribution wisely. This mechanic is used in many different ways throughout the game, keeping the gameplay always fresh. I've always dreamed of making my own indie studio after gaining experience in the industry and making a sequel to Red Trigger, so here we are! So what is Red Trigger 2 and where are we at the moment? First, just a little disclaimer, everything you're about to see in this video and the other behind the scenes to come is always subject to change as we're developing the game. Red Trigger 2 will start directly after the ending of the first game and will be much bigger than the original Red Trigger. Also, the first Red Trigger had very little dialogue and story in it. The sequel will be very different in that aspect, having complete voice acting and a compelling story where you'll meet multiple intriguing characters. Speaking of which, I'm very happy to unveil one of the main characters, which is a mysterious sassy cat that you'll meet early on in the adventure. He will be a companion that will sit on your shoulder for most of the adventure. He and the main character named Red will converse often while you discover more about the virtual world of Red Trigger. Another big difference is the structure of the game. Red Trigger 1 was completely linear, while Red Trigger 2 will have a hub where you'll often return to and be able to explore progressively as you gain abilities, a bit like a Metroidvania. Around the hub, there will be multiple biomes. Each of them will be more linear and be around the size of the first full Red Trigger game. When you corrupt them, you'll return to the hub after an action-filled escape sequence. You'll be able to complete those biomes almost in any order you want. In terms of development, after a couple of months of actually creating the studio, we are now in full pre-production. We want to make sure everything is solid before building the actual levels. After my experience gained in the industry, I decided to remake everything from scratch for multiple reasons. The gun, for example, has a couple more details on it, while still keeping the minimalist aesthetic you all loved in the first game. One of my priorities is also to improve the 3Cs. You may of course not be familiar with the term, it's used in game dev and corresponds to camera, control and character. To describe it very simply and briefly, it's basically what determines if your game feels good to play or not. You can have a game with great levels, but they won't shine at all if the moment-to-moment gameplay doesn't feel good. The controls may be too stiff, too fast, the camera may not show you what you actually want to see, all that stuff. On the other side, you can have a game with no levels, but just moving around in the game feels fun. It's very difficult to nail the 3Cs, but there's many minor things that can be done to improve them. Here's an example. In the first game, when you were sprinting, the walking animation simply went twice as fast, so you weren't really sure if you were actually sprinting or not. In the sequel, I've added an animation that is completely different to really feel the difference. It feels better, and you also really notice that you're going faster. Some other movements have also been added, like the fact that you can slide when you're running and then crouching. It gives more depth to the overall controls and will be used in puzzles and action sequences as well. As you can see, if I crouch here, I can go under this obstacle. But at the next obstacle, the wall is lower and I can't go through. By using the slide, you can fit into smaller spaces. Of course, this will need a clear visual language for the player to understand in advance that he will need to slide under the obstacle in front of him. I'm also prototyping some new abilities that I won't be showing you for now. So that's where we are for now. I hope this sneak peek can already excite you for what's to come. I'm eager to see your reactions. If you want to help make the game a reality, consider becoming a patron for Bold Spirit Game Studio. The link is in the description below. Any amount makes a big difference and is greatly appreciated. I also invite you to follow us on social media. The link to our pages is in the description below as well. I wish you all a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!